Excuse me, sir, is this the Delta House?
Sure. Come on in.
They have cold beer and action on the game.
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
It's time for the Degenerates Next Door.
Dollar bills, y'all.
I got a lot of problems with the New York Giants. And consider this Festivus. There's about to be an airing of grievances. My name is Jason Hammer. I do the Hammer and Nigel show. Here in Indianapolis, Rob Kendall is a #1 rated radio host in his own right. And Rob, we had a good week last week.
We did. Both of us winning records in both the college and pro side of the Degenerates Next Door podcast, and that's why we're here, to be winners.
So I went 3-2 on the NFL side. Should have been 4-1. I got done so dirty by the Giants in that game against the Browns. Like, it was the game where I've seen on highlights before. I've seen Scott Van Pelt talk about bad beats on television before, and I think, man, it must really suck to lose a game that way. And then it happened to me.
Yeah.
Happened to me this past Sunday. It started when all we needed was a field goal to cash it over. We had an entire fourth quarter to go.
Oh, wow.
Just needed a field goal.
Toes are tapping. You're feeling good.
Giants kicker has a 48-yarder and kicks it promptly into the bathroom.
Oh, wow.
So that's no good. All right, fine. You get nothing out of the Browns, and then the Giants, a chance to seal the game. They have a breakaway touchdown that would put them up 2 scores with just under 2 minutes to go. He dives down at the 1.
Yep.
We've all seen it a million times. It actually happened to me, and that's the difference between 4-1 and 3-2.
Now, this happened to me last year in a game, and I forget which one it was, but here's what I remember. I remember in real time as the guy was running to the end zone, just saying in my mind, he's going to slide at the 1. And it's like a train wreck where you just see your life goes into slow-mo. Did this happen for you where you're just saying as he's breezing to the end zone and knowing your entire win or loss is going to depend on if this a-hole hops across that goal line, and you just know you're going to get screwed?
I really thought he was going to take it to the house because it would put you up 2 scores.
Yeah, you win either way.
With under, 2 minutes left. And let's be honest, a lot of these dudes have incentives in their contracts, touchdown scores, but they found a way to screw me, Rob. And that brings us to tonight. We've got a little Thursday night football. The Dallas Cowboys are at the New York Giants, and I have action tonight.
I want action tonight, satisfaction all night.
So, let's be honest. The Cowboys are in a situation where if they lose one more game, Jerry Jones may be suiting up himself. We're that close.
Yeah.
But I do think being on a short week is a good thing for the Dallas Cowboys. Their fourth quarter against Baltimore was amazing. It was a little rough the first 3, and that's why they lost. But if they fall to 1-3, heads are going to start rolling in Dallas. You're going to start hearing that Bill Belichick to Dallas stuff pretty quickly if they drop one tonight. But the real reality is the Cowboys own the Giants.
Yeah.
So the line is up to 6 now.
Oh, wow.
Cowboys -6 at the Giants. If you can find it at 5.5, sweet Jesus, jump on it. I am in on the Cowboys either way. When I first saw the bet, it was 5.5. I was in. If you're willing to play 5.5, you should be willing to play 6. Yes, it stinks because you're in a push situation, but the Cowboys have covered the spread in 10 of the last 11 road games following a loss, and that's the spot they're in tonight. And Dak Prescott, 12-2 against the Giants, and this is a Giants team that is so beat up in the secondary that this is going to play into the hands of the Cowboys because the Cowboys can't really run the ball and they can't stop the run. But luckily, the Giants on the other side, they can't run the ball and their secondary's banged up. I'm not trying to be overconfident. I'm not trying to be too cocky here, Rob, but this may be my favorite bet of the weekend.
Oh.
I think the Cowboys go into the Meadowlands and just beat the brakes off the Giants tonight. Jimmy Johnson, your thoughts?
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
Where are you at?
Well, now this breaks my heart because I had this on my list of games to take. I actually had the same bet that you had for almost all the same reasons. And then I started, one of the things I do is I scour, hey, what are some of the other advice gurus out there? What are they suggesting? And almost every one of them had the Giants with the points. And I thought, am I missing something here? Because I'm with you. The Giants are owned by the Cowboys. The Giants Stinksville against anybody not named the Cleveland Browns. And yet, every site I looked at had the Giants with the points. And so I said, I feel like I'm missing something here, but I'm with you. I'm putting money on this. I'm going with you.
This is a get-right game for the Cowboys. They have to win or heads will roll. And listen when teams tell you who they are, right? A couple weeks back, we all heard that the Bills, they own the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were saying, it's a different Bills team. It's a different Dolphins team. Rabble, rabble. I remember that because you know why? I was one of those guys.
Yeah.
But the Bills went in and just beat the hell out of the Dolphins. And it seems like this is like the same thing. The Cowboys are telling you, we own the Giants. Our strengths are their weaknesses. They're banged up. I know the Giants are at home, but it's not like it's some great rockin' home environment that the Giants enjoy. So I'm going to lay the points tonight. I am on the Cowboys, and we'll have some prop bets coming up a little bit later on. Another big game on the schedule, Rob, the Bills, who we just mentioned, at the Ravens.
Yeah.
-2.5 is the line. Ravens home favorite. The over-under sitting right around 46.5. And as we say every week, shop around, find the best number. You're not really a degenerate unless you have multiple accounts opened up. But where are you at here?
Well, I did a little even Steven on the Bills game on Monday night. I hit the -4.5. We did that in about the first 3 plays of the game against the Jaguars. But I did miss, big time, the Bills scoring almost 46.5 points on their own, hitting the over against the Jaguars. But here we are again, the old 46.5. And this is a road game for the Bills, so that's a little different. They aren't going to score $9 million like they did the last time. The second thing is that the Ravens D minus a late collapse versus Dallas, which helped you out, by the way, hit that over, good for you, is way better than the Jags played last week. And the third thing is there's going to be a lot of running in this game, which hopefully means a running clock. Put them all together. I'm going under 46.5, Ravens hosting the Bills.
Now, I know the Ravens are the home team here, and Buffalo is traveling, but can I play you one of my favorite news reports of all time?
Oh, sure.
Now, it's not upper echelon like the Leprechaun in Alabama or the Ain't Nobody Got Time for That or the Hide Your Kids, Hide Your Wife, but this report on Buffalo Bills fans from a couple of years ago always brings a smile to my face.
Breaking tables, throwing Santa, as video after video goes viral.
Drunkenness, it's insane what I saw in the video. People could get hurt.
And now, Orchard Park police are investigating a video that apparently shows a man and women having sex yesterday in a private lot. Lot owners say they have to keep a watchful eye.
I'm walking up and down the rows, talking to my customers to make it more of a family atmosphere.
Lot owners in houses near the stadium even have extra insurance just in case someone gets hurt.
I love they have to have a news report talking about Bills fans having relations out in the open.
The phrase throwing Santa is just strong, isn't it?
Let's check in with our resident professional, Kenny Britt of KB Sports. Kenny Britt is a big, hairy American winning machine, and he has got a play for you. KB, what's up, man?
Well, I'm focusing on the Saints and Falcons game. Part of my handicapping process is on something while I'm watching Sunday Night Football. I'll start handicapping next week, and I will create the lines before I look at Vegas's lines. And I'm usually really close in the NFL. I had this total at 47 or 48, and the Vegas has got it at 42. I love the over in this game, Saints-Falcons. It's 42 on DraftKings. It's 42.5 most other places, so it is going up. But Hammer, I love this. I love this total. Over 42, Saints at Falcons.
And if somebody wants to become a subscriber of yours, one, why should they? And number two, how do they do it?
Well, why should they? I'm 25-15 on the year in football, 63%. Just go to my Facebook page, KB Sports, and all the information is right there on how to become a client. And I've got a Jason Hammer special for you this week.
Oh, what do we got?
You're the king of the prop plays, and you're really good at them. Now, the total hasn't come out yet because he's injured, but Najee Harris is going to play this week. And if he's anywhere around the 80 yards rushing, jump all over the over. The Colts haven't fixed anything. They played the Bears last week.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a Jason Hammer special when that line, because Jalen Warren's going to be out. If Najee Harris's total is anywhere around 80, even 85, jump on it.
Got it, my friend. KB, check it out, KB Sports. We appreciate you, brother. We'll talk next week.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Going to take a quick timeout. More picks. We got prop bets. We got a long shot. All of it's coming up. We are the Degenerates Next Door. Back on the Degenerates Next Door, I'm Jason Hammer. Rob Kendall is here. Again, you're going to find a bunch of people on television that spend the majority of their paycheck on Botox. That's not who we are. We're a bunch of degenerates that do our homework, and honestly, I'd put our record up against a lot of those folks you see on television anyway.
Yeah, 12-8 for me in college football. Are those pros going 12-8, Hammer?
No, but boy, do their faces look like they've been stretched.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to another pick here. Minnesota, surprising Viking squad on the road at Lambeau. Green Bay is a 2.5-point home favorite. Over/under sitting around 43.5.
All right, I'm torn on this because Green Bay's really good at home. But you know, Hammer, I believe in rewarding good behavior. And last week, the Vikings, in a meaningless goal line stand against the Houston Texans, secured me an under victory in that contest. I got to reward that, don't I?
I feel like you have to. You owe it to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Lambeau's so hard to play, but you got to give the Vikings a little something. You know, hey, Lambeau, how about a little something for the effort? So I'm going to take the Vikings getting 2.5 at the Packers, and here's why. It's tricky. We don't know exactly who's going to start for the Packers. Vegas clearly assumes it's going to be Jordan Love since the Vikings are sitting at 3-0 and have beaten some pretty good teams, the 49ers and the Texans, and they're underdogs. But like I said, when we cash that under in the Texans and Vikings, I think the Vikings D is legit good. They dominated that game against the Texans. I think their offense is good enough. I don't think Sam Darnold's a world beater, but I think he's serviceable. And now the Vikings are a different team at home. I get that, right? But with Justin Jefferson and Sam Darnold, give me the points on the road. Maybe I get lucky and it's Malik Willis again. I know he's 2-0, but he's not some world beater either. All things collectively, got to go with the team that made you some money last week. Give me the Vikings getting 2.5.
All right, I will take you to another New York team. I talked about the Giants earlier.
Boy.
You talked about the Bills, the actual only team that's in New York, if you want to get specific about it. The Jets, Jets, the Jets hosting the Broncos. Jets are a 7.5-point home favorite. The over-under, it's a low one, 39.5. Let's talk about the Broncos here. Bo Nix, rookie quarterback, was okay last week. They had a good win on the road. But I feel like this Jets defense at home is going to be a little bit more prepared. The more you see Bo Nix play, the more film you have on him. And let's not get it twisted here. It's not like Jaden Daniels in Washington taking deep shots down the field. Bo Nix is averaging less than 6 passing yards per attempt. He's Captain Dink and Dunk right now. And I think the Jets are finally starting to turn that corner. We saw the Aaron Rodgers of old their last time out when they absolutely put it on the Patriots. Now, you might say to yourself, the Patriots stink. The Patriots offense stinks. Patriots defense is pretty good. and Aaron Rodgers put it on him. So I think A-Rod not only is getting back into his groove here, I think he's going to take care of his guy. He's going to take care of Nathaniel Hackett. Now, if you remember, Hackett was the coach of the Broncos, and it was a mess. Total train wreck. Got fired. When Sean Payton took over, he was taking shots at Nathaniel Hackett, like ripping the dude that he replaced. And I'm telling you right now, Aaron Rodgers is the type of dude that's going to take that personal. He's not going to come out and say, yeah, we're going to run up the score a little bit, and I'm going to take care of my current offensive coordinator who they were bashing, but he's totally going to do that. So I'm going to lay 7.5 here. I don't know if I would take this if Nathaniel Hackett was not a storyline, but I think Aaron Rodgers is just petty enough, Rob, to try to put it on Sean Payton and prove a point here. 7.5. If I'm playing it, I'm laying it. Give me the New York Jets. All right, your Chicago Bears.
Oh, jeez.
Coming off a loss to the Colts last week, the Rams are coming into Chicago. Bears, 2.5-point home favorite against a beat-up Rams squad, over-under sitting at 41.
Hammer, it was a big week for me on Sunday because in person, I got to see the worst played professional football game I've ever seen. I got some free tickets through work. I can't imagine if you paid your hard-earned money to go see that Colts-Bears game because it was awful, awful, awful on both sides of the ball. It was so bad, in fact, and I never do this. I left at the start of the fourth quarter. I said, let's beat the traffic.
Fourth quarter wasn't bad.
Yeah, maybe that's because I left. Maybe St. Kendall's gone. The Bears are a train wreck, and I felt so bad because the Bears fans showed up. I mean, they were there big time.
It was a Bears invasion in Indianapolis last weekend.
And I'm just sitting there like we were around Bears fans. I'm like, really? All these people go out of their way to come to a road game, and this is the effort you give? Here's the thing, though. It stops here and now, Hammer.
Uh-oh.
The Bears stink. I totally agree. But at some point, they have to get it together, right? I mean, like you said, Caleb Williams showed some signs of life in the fourth quarter. The Rams, statistically, the second worst defense in the league, last in yards per game. Now, they're getting some points, I think, in this after that. Somehow they beat the 49ers last week. A miraculous comeback. What beat them 13-3 in the fourth quarter. The Bears have lost two in a row on the road, but they're back at home. And I know, Hammer, I know. I'm just asking for trouble. But I think the Bears D can handle an old, immobile quarterback. The Rams are getting crushed on offense with injuries. So that should be enough for the Bears, right? Or maybe not. I'm a glutton for punishment. Just look at some of the women I've dated in my life. Give me the Bears minus 2.5.
Bear down. Rob's pick for the game and the story of his love life. You be willing to take this up to 3 because I'm seeing 3 in some spots now.
Boy, that means you got to win by 4. I mean, what choice would I really have?
If you're playing it at 2.5, I think you play it at 3, right?
Yeah, sure. Why not? As Austin Powers once said, I, too, like to live dangerously.
Again, we do this show on a Thursday afternoon, so these lines are at the time of our show. All right, so you're a Bears fan, and you picked the Bears to win. I am a Colts fan. And I have action on the Steelers at the Colts. Pittsburgh, undefeated. Now, if you remember, early on, I think it was our first episode of the Degenerates Next Door, we were making future bets. I went all in on the Steelers over total for the season. Feeling pretty good about that right now. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. This isn't the Chiefs. This isn't the Bills that we're seeing. This is a 3-0 Steelers squad that is doing the bare minimum offensively. So the Steelers are 1.5-point road favorites at Indy. The over-under is sitting at 40. The most the Pittsburgh Steelers have scored in a game this year is 20 points. 18, 13, and 20. And they've won all of those games because their defense is that good. Now, for the Colts, the last 2 weeks, they've scored 21 and 10. And it took a litany of Caleb Williams interceptions for them to find a way to put 21 points on the board.
Yeah.
So with that Steelers defense, these two offenses, you're a Bears fan. If it is Justin Fields starting this week, and at the time of the show, we just don't know yet, Do you have faith that he's going to figure it out and all of a sudden turn into the second coming of Tom Brady? I don't. And we know Anthony Richardson, the lowest rated passer in the league. This total feels awful high to me, 40. So 5 touchdowns and a field goal. Do you see any of these teams putting on an offensive clinic that warrant 5 touchdowns and a field goal? And by the way, if that happens, you still win. That's only 38. The total is 40. Hot damn. We are going to take this bad boy under, because that total with these offenses and that Steeler defense, too damn high.
Too damn high.
All right, Scott Long, America's comedian, the Heartland's comedian, and the man behind The Long Shot, the former host of All Indiana Bets. He has got a long shot for us. Scott, what are we looking at?
Glad to be on with you. Had a good week in college. Of course, I don't call in for your college show, so I just have another 2 and 3 week in the NFL. But it's all going to change, Hammer. Isn't that the mantra of every bettor?
That's the mantra of every bettor and every politician, even if they're currently in office, Scott. They're going to change things.
They are, even if they might end up in a Turkish prison.
What is the long shot that you have this week?
Okay, this one technically, it never is good when someone starts with technically.
Right.
Technically, this game started out, the Browns were 2-point favorites, so that's why I still consider it a long shot. I bought it with the Raiders were +1. It is now Raiders -1 against the Browns. I am on the Raiders. I like the Raiders in this spot. Deshaun Watson, have you seen him anytime in Cleveland? Miserable.
I don't make it to Cleveland very often, nor do I make it to massage parlors very often. So I can honestly say I've not seen him, Scott.
I don't know. He seems like he's got a lot of tension that's built up ever since he went from Houston to Cleveland, because the guy is miserable. If you told me that in the second quarter Jameis Winston is going to come in because that's his backup, and you told me Jameis Winston would be coming into the game, I would live bet the Browns. Pretty much anybody, I would live bet Deshaun Watson's been the worst quarterback in the NFL the last 2 seasons. He's the richest, and the Raiders have the worst running game in the NFL, but the Browns' offensive line is horrendous. They're all backups, even some third strings, the worst quarterback in the NFL, and you're telling me that the Raiders can't cover 1 point at home? I'll take the Raiders in this spot. And Gardner Minshew, currently 5th leading passer in the NFL in regards to completion percentage. Who's last? Just going to mention that again, even though I'm not going to talk about the Colts, and I would probably bet the Colts this week.
So you are a card-carrying member of the Gardner Minshew Support Club. And by the way, to answer your question, it's Anthony Richardson that is last.
Right. And the 6th leading passer for yards is Gardner Minshew. So that'll just give you an idea. Even though he has no run game and a bad offensive line, and the last time I checked, AR has a supposedly really good offensive line and a top-notch running back. So said it all last year when he was 7-5 with the Colts, best record I think any Colts quarterback has had percentage-wise ever since Andrew Luck. I'm done.
If anybody wants to find the works of Scott Long or hire you for their party, their bar mitzvah, maybe you want to perform while Deshaun Watson's getting a massage, how can they find you, Scott?
I'm available for all but the last one. And I do a corporate act tomorrow night. I will be in the land of Mike Braun doing a corporate show. So in Jasper, I do it all over the Midwest. So get a hold of me at scottcomedy.com. You got your holiday party. It's time. I'm the guy. I'll make you guys my co-star. We'll have fun.
Scott Long, you're the man. We appreciate you.
See you, Rob.
Bye, Scott.
All right, going to take another timeout. When we come back, Rob talking Bengals and Panthers, the Andy Dalton Bowl. We've got that. We've got some prop bets and the Ballin' on a Budget parlay. It's all coming up. We are the Degenerates Next Door. Back on the Degenerates Next Door. The picks, they're coming fast and furious like the street takeovers that are happening in most major U.S. cities. Rob, the Andy Dalton Bowl. The Bengals on the road at the Panthers. The Bengals winless. They are a 4-point road favorite. Over under sitting around 47.5. Do you have enough hair on your peaches to take the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton, and the Panthers? Or are you going with the Bengals to get that first dub?
Oh, hammer. You forget I'm a Bears fan, which means for a very brief period of time, I got the Andy Dalton experience. And let me tell you how the Andy Dalton experience goes, right? One moment, wow, what an impressive wily veteran. The next minute you're saying, how is this guy in the league? Okay, so just because the Panthers won as in one game, doesn't mean they've left Stinksville.
He looked really good, though.
I just told you. The next minute you're going to be going, how is this guy in the league? They're an awful team, and now the Bengals are able to prepare for Andy Dalton. And the Bengals can't keep losing every week, can they? I mean, they've got Joe Burrow. They've got talented skill position players. And Andy Dalton, when he was on the Bears, wasn't old-ass Andy Dalton that he is now. I know the Bengals have an awful record. I know they're defeated. I know their defense is pathetic at times. But I think it ends this week. I'm going on instinct. This has actually gone down a little bit. Give me the Bengals -4. I'll lay the 4.
All right, so I will see your winless Bengals pick, and I will raise you the winless Jacksonville Jags on the road, taking on the Houston Texans, and sooner or later, the Jags are going to compete and look like the team that won the division 2 years ago. Sooner or later, Trevor Lawrence is going to look like the number 1 pick in the draft, right? He can't be this bad all the time. So Houston is a 6.5-point home favorite against Jacksonville. This is a division game. These teams know each other, and it feels like when it's divisional matchups, sometimes these things go down to the wire. I think Houston wins this thing, but the Texans have failed to cover in their last 4 games, and this is too many points. Again, because they can't be this bad all the time, give me the Jags, give me Trevor Lawrence. I want 6.5. And now, I've kind of become the Thursday night guy on this show.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that picks the Thursday night games. But lo and behold, guess who comes out of the phone booth wearing the cape? Mr. Monday Night Football, Rob Kendall. Last week, you went 50% on Monday night action. You've got more Monday night plays for us. What do we got?
I like the Monday night games because it prolongs the potential losing. I still have some hope, right? Okay, so the Lions are a 3.5-point favorite against the Seahawks at home. And yeah, I know the Seahawks are 3-0. I get it. But have you seen the teams they played? Yikes. Dolphins without Tua, Broncos, and Patriots. Not exactly the 2007 New England Patriots or 72 Dolphins or 85 Bears. And the Lions aren't exactly world beaters out there either so far. But the Seahawks have failed to cover in 4 of their last 5 games. I think the Seahawks Magic Mystery Tour ends here. Give me the Lions covering the 3.5.
I'm going to take you out to the Golden Coast, a little California love, the Patriots at the 49ers. It's a big number. San Francisco is a 10-point home favorite. Over-under is at 40. Neither of those numbers mean anything to me, Rob. Let me tell you why. I'm looking at San Francisco total points scored in the first half.
Uh-oh.
First half. San Francisco hasn't covered in 7 of their last 8 games at home. Meanwhile, the Patriots, they've covered second half spreads in 4 of the last 6 on the road. So if you're doing some money ball analytics here, that doesn't seem like something I want to touch because that's a big number with the spread and it's a low total. But I do think San Francisco is good for at least 2 touchdowns in the first half. So we're going to ride the lightning, baby. San Francisco over 13.5 points in the first half. Now, if that's not kooky enough for you, how about we ball on a budget, Rob?
That's my turn, Hammer. It's my turn.
Get off your damn phone. We're trying to do a show.
I was looking at the President's Cup scores, which I'm also bet on, so give me a break.
I literally throw it to you for your segment, balling on a budget, customized for you, and you're over there sexting a bunch of chicks.
I was looking at the scores in the President's Cup, which I bet on. I'm still being a degenerate. I should get a pass on that. Anyway, balling on a budget. Here we go. Tonight, Thursday Night Football, Daniel Jones, over 31.5 yards rushing. Now, that sounds like a lot, but the Cowboys' run defense stinks. And Daniel Jones, he can't pass the ball. He can run the ball, though. We get one big play, couple quarterback sneaks. Our toes are tapping. I like Daniel Jones over 31.5 yards. Titans getting 1.5 at the Dolphins on Monday Night Football. Look, the Titans stink. Local newsman, his man crush, Phil Sanchez, his man crush, the quarterback. What the hell's the guy's name? Will Levis. He's played so bad.
You know that if you were off your phone.
Well, I was looking at the golf scores.
Maybe you should look at your games you're betting on.
Look, I don't think he's as bad as he played. I don't know who's going to be the quarterback for the Dolphins. I'm taking the Titans, getting 1.5. Chiefs, money line versus the Chargers is a big number. It's like 7.5. That seems like a lot.
Quarterback issues. Not sure what the health of Herbert is.
You got done dirty last week, by the way, on that.
Third quarter injury screwed me.
Yeah, and then the 49ers money line, that number's big, like you said, 10.5. I don't know about that, but I like him on the money line. Put them all together. So it's Daniel Jones over 31.5 yards. Titans getting 1.5 on Monday Night Football. Chiefs money line, 49ers money line, plus 437. That means a $5 bet would pay you $21.89.
I like it. I like it. Nobody makes cheaper bets than Rob Kendall does, and that's how you ball on a budget. All right. Once again, if you missed last week, we've got a new open for this segment. I call it the prop shop, where I give you prop bets to bet on. And the amount of money that we spent making this, we had to fire 13 people, but I think it's worth it.
I take you to the
prop
shop. I let you lick the lollipop. Go ahead, girl, don't you stop.
Big finish.
Keep on going till you hit the
prop. I also am looking at Monday Night Football. I said earlier I'm in on the Cowboys. I think Dallas gets right tonight. Dak Prescott over 1.5 passing touchdowns. If the Cowboys are going to score, it's coming through the air because they can't run the ball. They can't stop the run either, but they can throw the ball with the best of them. Dak Prescott over 1.5 touchdown passes, and somebody's got to catch it. So how about this? CD Lamb, anytime touchdown. If you want to parlay those together, if you're able to, go ahead. I'm not a parlay guy. I think they're sucker bets, but that at least is connected and it makes sense. Also, Aaron Rodgers over 20.5 completions against the Broncos. Again, I think they're going to try to take care of their offensive coordinator who was done dirty by the Broncos and prove a point. Deshaun Watson over 0.5 interceptions, and Alec Pierce, wide receiver of the Indianapolis Colts, longest reception over 15.5 yards. He might only catch 1 or 2 balls, but he's the deep threat option for Anthony Richardson. All right, Rob Kendall, let's recap the board here. What are your plays for this week?
Look, the Panthers stink. The Bengals aren't great, but I think the Bengals are better than the Panthers stink. I like the Bengals laying the 4 at the Panthers. You got the Vikings on the road at the Packers. Who knows who's going to play quarterback for the Packers? Either way, I got to reward the Vikings for taking care of me last week. The Vikings are getting 2.5 at the Packers. Ravens and Bills, I'm going under 46.5 points. The Bears, boy, am I a glutton for punishment. Laying 2.5 at home against the Rams. Lions, minus 3.5 against the Seahawks. And our balling on a budget, Daniel Jones over 31.5 yards rushing. Titans getting 1.5 at the Dolphins. Chiefs on the money line. And the 49ers on the money line.
I am taking the Cowboys tonight. I think it's a get-right spot. Cowboys own the Giants even on the road, laying 5.5 to 6. Whatever you get the number at, lay it with the Cowboys. Jets minus 7.5 against the Broncos. I'm going under 40 in the Colts and Steelers matchup. I like the Jags catching almost a touchdown, 6.5 at the Houston Texans. And San Francisco 49ers over 13.5 points in the first half. And our prop shop, Dak Prescott over 1.5 passing touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, anytime touchdown. Aaron Rodgers, over 20.5 completions. Deshaun Watson, over 0.5 interceptions. And Alec Pierce, longest reception, over 15.5 yards. Man, that's a lot of action. We should charge for this. I'm just kidding. We're not those people. We would never charge you for this. We're having a good time. We hope you guys are too. Enjoy the weekend. Crack open a cold 1 or 9. And as always, may the odds be ever in your favor. For Rob Kendall, for Kenny Britt, for Scott Long, I'm Jason Hammer. We are the Degenerates Next Door.